Good evening. Thank you for joining us for another virtual town hall. Today is July 29th. All right, we are excited Good to. Evening. Thank you for joining us for another virtual town hall. All right, all right. Thank you for joining us. Before going on to the highlights for today, I would like to start with our numbers. We are now at 87,893 cases, with 587 cases here in the village. I'm sorry, not here in the village, here in the county. 587 cases in the county. The village, we remain at one case, one confirmed case that we're monitoring, and we hope, like the other cases that we've had, that it will, the individual will recover, and we wish them a speedy recovery. I would like to make a note on the increase of the cases that we've seen in the county. Back in June 14th, we started to see an upward trend in the number of cases. And that trend continued through July 15th. Now, since July 15th, we started to see that downward trend again. So the cases are steadily declining. And I think that's a good sign. I think a lot of folks are taking the pandemic more seriously as they look to re-engage in business activities in the community, in the state, and in the country. I think we've seen a lot of cases throughout the country, and with the sudden changes around mask mandates throughout the country, we've seen the highest office in the land started wearing masks as well. And I think a lot of that is that more folks are taking the pandemic serious and wearing the mask wherever they go. It's unfortunate that we have to see such a peak in the numbers for the behavior modification, but nonetheless, we're there, and I'm happy to see more folks wearing masks. That goes for our community as well. We've seen a very positive response to the marketing campaign, the Mask Ambassador program, the intervention strategies of the police department. So we've seen a very good uptake in the mask wearing, and I'm happy to see that. I think we all benefit from that. On highlights of what we're doing for the coronavirus response, we're continuing our hand sanitizer stations and distribution. We added one new initiative to a program. We are providing hand sanitizers free to businesses and nonprofits that we have in the past, except now they're available at our utilities window for pickup Monday through Friday, 8:30 to 4:30. So if you're a business, a nonprofit organization, and you would like to take advantage of this opportunity, fill out a form. You'll find it on our website or on Facebook. Fill out a form and come on in and to receive your hand sanitizer free. I'm also excited to announce that we have a new Wi-Fi hotspot in the downtown area. This is at the train station. So we're now at 3 hotspots in our downtown area, and they provide excellent point of access for internet, great speed and reliable quality internet. So that's another benefit that we've had. I also have an announcement on behalf of Yellow Springs Schools. You may have heard the news that Yellow Springs Schools will be all remote, all online for the first quarter of the school year. To learn more about their plan, I encourage you to visit ysschools.org, where they've outlined what their operating plan would be for that first quarter. So, joining me tonight is Fire Chief Colin Altman, Brian Hausch, Mayor Pam, and Brian Carlson, Police Chief. Chief Altman, thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Josue. Thank you very much. Miami Township Fire Chief Colin Altman coming to you live, for some reason, from the steps of the United States Supreme Court here in a balmy Washington, D.C. I'm here with noted world-famous physicians, Dr. Zayas, Dr. Quinn, medicine woman, Dr. Emilio Zoidberg, Dr. Leonard McCoy, Bones to you and me, Dr. Richard Kimball, and of course, WYSO General Manager Luke Dennis. Why are we here? We were sent on a special mission by Yellow Springs Chamber of Commerce Executive Director Karen Wintrow. As a matter of fact, we just finished briefing the President of the United States on the apparent COVID fighting capabilities of Yellow Springs Brewery Captain Stardust beer. So, good. While we certainly don't believe that there are any COVID fighting capabilities with Yellow Springs Brewery beer, if he's going to listen to someone who espouses the benefits of staying away from demon sex, then he might listen to us too. So Yellow Springs Brewery beer, it's the way to go. Now, Josue had asked me to talk some about trends and what's going on. And our numbers in Yellow Springs are good. The numbers in the township are even better. Big old zero. Numbers in the county seem to be okay, but Ohio's not doing great. We were in a position a couple of weeks ago where we could all sit back on our front porches and laugh at Texas and Arizona and California, and I think Georgia was in there too. But now they're flattening out, and now the big problem is here in the Midwest, including Ohio. I was on a conference call this morning with members of Governor DeWine's staff and cabinet. They made it pretty clear that the governor is, what was the term they used? Pissed about what's going on here. So what's the problem? Why are we having these issues in Ohio? Simple. It's people. People who need people. Typically, they're the luckiest people in the world. But what they're doing now is going forth. Where are spreader events coming from? Bars. Nightclubs. I don't really know anyone still went to a nightclub. Backyard barbecues. And car trips. People all just getting together because we want to see each other, and we take our mask off, we don't social distance, and then suddenly you've got 6 people, 8 people from one incident who are testing positive. So how do we stop this? Because what we're looking at now is the possibility of an autumn time that's going to be really not fun. The flu is coming. We were talking this morning on a public health call with state officials about how we're going to do vaccinations for all this, and if and when the COVID vaccine comes out, how we're going to do that, roll it out. If we want any kind of semblance, we have to keep doing what we're doing, and not just here in Yellow Springs, everywhere. Call your relatives, call your friends. We have to social distance. Most important thing, wear a mask. Even with your mask, though, social distance from people as much as you can, unless you're wearing an N95, and then you should be a healthcare provider. It's very important because we want to get back to some semblance. We were trending the right way in Ohio, and now we're not. And it's upsetting for everybody. So, if you want to go to an OSU football game, which apparently is some big thing here in Ohio, we need to do the right thing. As Josue just mentioned, Yellow Springs schools will be virtual for the first quarter of the year. I feel for the parents. You've already had your kids home all this time. If you really need an escape, you could always volunteer for the fire department. We'll get you out of the house. It'd be great. So keep working. Let's get those numbers back down where they should be. Very important. Very important. Now, I want to take a moment to address a very serious issue too. That is a budding crisis that, if left unchecked, has the ability to bring down the very republic in which we live. And that is my apparent beef with WYSO General Manager Luke Dennis. I can't tell you how many times I've been stopped on the street, actually stopped on the street by people, citizens like you, asking me or telling me, hey, I like watching you and your insanity on these town halls, but what is your problem with Luke Dennis? Well, I'll tell you. When I was a young man growing up in New Jersey, I was working the late shift in the spice mines at Kessel. And I had to make the Kessel run in under 12 parsecs many times a week. Myself and Prince Chula Longhorn were doing it together. And the thing that kept us going on those long hauls at night was listening to WYSO. So what is my beef? My only beef with Luke Dennis is that he's not out there cracking skulls to get people to become a member of the station. A couple years ago, the guilt was overwhelming. My Jewish heritage guilt came out with a side of Catholicism, and I became a sustaining member of WYSO. It doesn't cost me much. A little bit comes out here and there. Luke Dennis likes me because of that. I get a tote bag because it's NPR. And of course, as a sustaining member, at least in my classification, Nina Ellis comes over to my house once a week and makes me dinner. So join the radio station. It's great. I have no beef with Luke Dennis. He's a good man. He's a great guy. Does a good job. And I just use this little comedic thing where you just keep hitting on the same thing over and over again, like Carl Reiner and Mel Brooks and Bob Newhart used to do. So, anywho, Luke Dennis and I, we're okay. So, you don't have to worry anymore. As always, we're here at the fire department. If you need us, give us a call. If you stop by the fire station, we can let you into a little bit of the building, but we have to take your temperature. You have to wear a mask. We have to wear a mask. It's a big thing. Someone has to sing an aria from Carmen. But other than that, stop in, get a permit, whatever you got to do. So if there's nothing else, I'll throw it right back to you, Mr. Manager.
Chief, thank you so much. I think we may need to give Mr. Luke Dennis some airtime. But I'm glad you guys are on good terms.
Could be like a point counterpoint kind of thing.
Yes, yeah. I'm sure Luke Dennis has been working on some material for, what are we now, 4 months?
4 months of Luke Dennis.
All right. Also joining us tonight is Police Chief Brian Carlson. Chief, thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Josue. Good evening, everyone. First, I'd like to do a couple shout outs. One, I'd like to thank Springsgate Ministries for the generosity that they and the compassion that they've shown to the police department. They're also providing another barbecue for first responders in the near future. That's always an exciting thing. And they provide an annual Christmas dinner for police officers, firefighters, and their partners. So a big thanks to you for that. Much needed, and we really appreciate it. I'd also like to thank a young group of Black Lives Matter that we had a very engaging conversation last night. I was extremely impressed with the eloquence and intellect of our young future leaders. And I wanted to say thanks to all of you for coming, speaking, and listening. Really appreciate that. The police department's doing well. We're providing the safety, security that we can for the marches on Saturdays. The peaceful protests have been going very well. And we're excited and happy to be able to assist in those. I know we have a few issues with some non-mask wearers, shall I say. I want to let you know that we're working with the public health department and the owner of the one business that is, defiant at this point. I need to be direct about it. So we're attempting tomorrow night. They have an open mic night. We're reaching out to the governor's office to find out about that. And in the meantime, we're going to be in attendance and working with the young folks that come to participate in the open mic night. What's happening is it's creating small gatherings outside of as much as 20, 25 people. And we need to change that situation. So we are working on that, and we'll have more of an update after tomorrow night. Nothing else from the police department. Oh, I do have one more note. Please lock your bicycles. Bicycles are in the county area. They are being taken. And as always, we believe they're used on the bike path and then dumped in another jurisdiction. So just remember to keep a bike lock on. If you have problems with one, or you need bike lights, please don't hesitate to call us at the PD. We're more than happy to help any way we can. Thanks, everyone. Back to you, Josue.
Thank you, Chief. And we also have installed new bike racks in the downtown area, these beautiful signs that have been made by the Greene County Career Center Youth Program. This is a program for youth where they're taught vocational skills and a lot of hands-on skills, and welding is one of them. So they designed these racks for us, they put them together, and we've installed them for you in the downtown area. Also joining me tonight is Mayor Pam. Mayor, thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much, Village Manager Josue. I was thinking about what I wanted to talk about tonight, what I wanted to share with the villagers and the folks from the township, and I thought We've been stressing, obviously, some of the legal issues, the health department issues, the mask issues, and so forth. But I know it is, according to Poor Will's Almanac and Bill Felker, it is the 5th week of deep summer in the village. And I know for a fact that some of you on this call have had vacations that you have taken, vacations that you are going to be taking. And I know for a fact I'll be leaving for a few days midweek next week, get out, do a little bit of camping, get out in the woods. And so I'm thinking, what are some of the things we can do locally here in Yellow Springs to sort of get us out of our houses, our winter and spring doldrums, and support our businesses in turn and have some fun outdoors safely? So what I did was consult some of the sources that we all have access to through either the internet or the Yellow Springs News. I first consulted with the Chamber website, and I wanted to remind everyone that even if you're not comfortable eating in restaurants, which many of our restaurants are open and serving inside as well as outside with safety protocols being followed, the takeout and takeaway is also available. So I just wanted to read you a list of some of the restaurants in Yellow Springs that are listed on the Chamber site as being open to varying degrees as far as having carry-out food or food on the premises. So you should definitely check websites before you venture out. But here are some of the businesses that are open for food: Bentino's Pizza, Calypso Grill, the Clifton Mill if you want to take a bike ride, Corner Cone and Dairy Bar, Current Cuisine, Dino's Cappuccinos. Ellie's Bar at Mills Park Hotel is open selected hours on Friday and Saturday evening. The Emporium Wine and Underdog Cafe have food available as well as adult beverages. Green Canteen, Haha's Pizza, Miguel's Tacos, Nipper's Corner, Peach's Grill, Starflower Natural Food, Sunrise Cafe, Tom's Market, The Winds, Ye Old Trail Tavern, and of course, Young's Jersey Dairy, again, if you want to take a bike ride out 68 or the bike path, and you're in the mood for some ice cream. But one of the cool things that I left till last is the Yellow Springs Farmers Market, a wonderful resource if you want fresh fruits, vegetables, and so forth, every Saturday from 8 a.m. to noon, 12 p.m. It's at Antioch University Midwest in their parking lot. They have SNAP benefits available and produce perks accepted. So please check them out if you'd like some fresh food from local markets. Now, let's say you just want to get outside. I want to remind you, Glen Helen Nature Preserve remains closed. Believe me, Luke Dennis and we will be the first to notify you when this place reopens. He'll be whispering this. I'm sure Colin Altman will be knowing this before anyone around. John Bryan State Park and Clifton Gorge are both open for hiking only. Little Miami Scenic Trail, shout out Brian Hausch, that bike trail is open for your use, for your strolling, your biking, your skate things, whatever it is you feel like doing. So check that out as well. Ellis Pond on the north end of the village off Polecat Road is a wonderful resource. Great parking lot. You can walk around the pond. You can take a picnic lunch and enjoy it out there. Or certainly they have a covered picnic area as well. Don't forget about Gaunt Park Pool. I think thank you in great part to our rec association here with the village, our recreation department, and certainly village manager Josue, Colin, all the folks who went into keeping this a safe environment, taking a chance and opening it, which appears to be quite safe as we are entering into the 5th week of deep summer. Check out Gaunt Park Pool. Also, minor league baseball, they're entering into their tournament season out there. If you go out to the pool on a Friday night, you might be fortunate enough to catch some baseball action with the kids for another week or two at Gaunt Park. Now, if you check the newspaper, our last issue of the newspaper, the issue that came out tonight, there are a lot of things going on in Yellow Springs and opening up that you can do for your recreation and leisure. The big screen at the Little Art opened on July 24th. It's tough because the space is now extremely limited because of spacing issues for safety, but the Little Art is open very safely. If you feel safe about doing this, reserve seating only online. So check out their website. You can choose your seat, go with your little pod with whom you've been sheltering. You can sit together, go by yourself. You'll have the whole row to yourself with empty rows in front and behind. Check out the Little Art. There is a free virtual summer camp, July 27th to August 1st for the toddlers and the youngsters from 10 a.m. on Facebook, featuring Daniel Tiger and Miss Sally, wife of WYSO General Manager Luke Dennis. Say it with me, Colin. Luke Dennis, right on. So they will be using a technology that will allow them to share story time, sing-alongs, crafts, field trips, fun, and a lot more. So if you go, again, this is advertised in our YS News, but if you have a young person at home who enjoys Daniel Tiger, then you might want to join them at 10 a.m. the week of July 27th for a virtual summer camp. Now, at the opposite end of the spectrum, the Yellow Springs Senior Center hosts a variety of programs each week online through Zoom. These are listed in the Yellow Springs News. You can always call the Senior Center during most mornings. Of course, 937-767-5751. It's in the Red Book. Take a Blacks of Yellow Springs virtual tour, 5 upcoming Saturdays in a row at 1 o'clock. Check out the 365project.org's website for the virtual tours that will be coming up. And I saved the best for last in this brief tour and exposure to what's going on. Take a stroll down to the Yellow Springs Public Library. Full access to our collection, videos and books, computer use for 1-hour blocks. If you're uncomfortable with going inside, they have continued curbside and home collections available for you, and you can call the library for more details. Pencil in hand, here it is, 937-352-4003. That is a list of some possible options. Walk, bike, and roll whenever you safely can to get out and enjoy all that Yellow Springs has to offer during this, the 5th week of deep summer. Thank you, and Josue, back to you.
Thank you so much, Mayor. Joining us tonight, Brian House, Council President. Brian, welcome.
Thank you, Josue, and good evening, community members and anyone else tuning in. So speaking of fifths, we are going into our 5th weekend of what's been a wildly successful initiative, the Mask Ambassadors that Josue referenced at the beginning of this meeting. And I wanted to just kind of give an overview, and I know some of you have heard about this. It's in the paper this week. Over the 4 weekends that we have done it, we've given out over 900 masks that have been provided by 17 businesses and handed out by 28 volunteers who have been experiencing that deep summer that Mayor Pam referred to quite extensively. I've been down there all 4 weekends, and this 5th weekend is likely to be our last. But I do want to share that we continue to be thanked by visitors who feel safe and also appreciate that we're actually walking the talk and doing something. We also are still seeing people who forgot a mask, their mask string broke, or this past Sunday, we had a great interaction with 5 young men from Springfield who didn't have masks, didn't seem to be aware that they needed to wear them. But as soon as they heard they were free, they grabbed them, they put them on. And those are the kinds of stories and situations that we're seeing that are just amazing. And it's so important to have that personal touch to help people change their behavior. I want to also say that it's not been all rosy. We've had just a couple interactions that got a little bit out of hand with folks wanting to debate the issues, which is not what the mask ambassadors are doing. Unfortunately, we had an incident this past Saturday that's apparently been repeated, where not only was someone harassing the mask ambassadors, and ultimately an officer had to come to talk to him, but also later in the day decided to pull up many of the Be Kind mask signs on Dayton Street, which I assume is going to be in the police report. And that property damage, that is stolen public property, that's yet another violation of the law on top of this individual not wearing a mask. I was happy to see that a citizen saw him doing this and reported it to dispatch. Interestingly, during this meeting, I got a message from that same citizen saying the signs had been pulled up again. So I do hope that our police department will follow up with this individual who's named Thomas. He is one of the spirited goat folks. They're hanging around without wearing masks and being very defiant about it. So we still have some work to do. But on an upside, we have, especially this past weekend, I personally saw some of the individuals that we have noted that have not been wearing masks at least some of the time. Many of our local youth that were not wearing masks, I'm starting to see wearing masks now. And so, things are working. We continue to see great compliance and care for people's safety. I want to highlight that the thoughtful and effective strategy that we have been working on for 2 months now is really paying off. No other community, I believe, in the world is seeing the compliance that we see in Yellow Springs. And I appreciate Josue highlighting all the great things that our officers and the rest of the village team and community are doing to support that. Finally, I want to thank the Community Foundation, the Chamber, the village team, and all the volunteers for the efforts to support an initiative that has not only kept people safe, but is supporting our local businesses and contributing to our economy. So I do want to get back to the point about reporting violations of the law. It is very important. I appreciate that people text and call and email and message me. I do want to know about all these things, and I like to share them with the community so that everyone understands that we know what's going on, we see it, we're working on it. But it is very important that you do report those violations to dispatch. And remember, that number is 767-7206, because we need that information so that we can continue to follow up on these issues in a resolution-oriented way. Facebook posts do not get linked into dispatch, even if they have 800 comments attached to them. So we want you to report these violations of public safety. We will follow up on them. And the final thing I'll say is, remember, change takes time. We've been really fortunate in Yellow Springs on a lot of different levels. And now we're just kind of dealing with the hard cases. And we'll remain diligent with that. So thank you, everyone. It's been really meaningful to see what's been going on downtown, to better understand what's happening, and also to understand community members' concerns. I see how crowded our sidewalks are. We've seen some of the issues with street musicians that aren't following protocols and that sort of thing, but it's getting better and better, and we are in it for the long haul. So let's be kind, let's stay safe, and Josue, I'm going to send it back to you.
Great. Thank you so much, Brian. I have one number to add to the number that you provided, Brian. In addition to police dispatch, the Greene County Public Health Department has a line that you can call for complaints. They also have a web form if you would like to submit complaints. I'm going to give you the phone number. That's 937-374-5600. And there's also various methods online. They have their general contact information to submit complaints, and now they have a very specific COVID-19 complaint form for you to submit your complaints through the health department, and that will cover businesses and also individuals. Okay, thank you. With that, we will now open the virtual town hall portion for questions. Let's see, what questions do we have? Okay. I see a question from Athena Fannin. What is the Facebook link? I think I misunderstood something. I can't. Okay. Those are questions directed to our technical folks. Let's see if we have any other questions. Okay. No questions coming in so far.
Hey, Josue, this is Colin.
Yes, Chief?
Hey, something I forgot to mention. I know a lot of people are frustrated with the level of enforcement of the governor's mask order, that they feel it's not robust enough. And if you've watched any kind of local regional newscasts, you've seen a lot of, unlike our police department, a lot of local law enforcement and sheriffs are not enforcing or choosing not to enforce it. And primarily a lot of them are larger departments that are busy with crime fighting. Health departments are also having a real problem with the amount of complaints that they're receiving because they're not set up for that. Our health department, as an example, is very busy with contact tracing and education and getting ready for schools to do what they're going to do, and working with the fair board. So one of the things that came out of a meeting conference call this morning is that the governor has been made aware of those issues. He's been on multiple calls with the health directors for all the counties, and the state is working on a plan with ODH and public safety that will give new additional tools to local health departments to help them investigate and follow up on complaints. So hopefully there'll be an announcement coming in a couple of weeks. And the governor has also made it clear that the liquor control people from public safety are going to be out in force, especially in a lot of these hotspots where people are going to, Athens and Put-in Bay, to really clamp down on bar behavior. One thing they did point out is that most bars, especially bars that also serve food, are complying. They're doing a fantastic job. And I can assure you all of our places here are doing a great job. From the Gulch to Peaches, which just recently opened, to the Winds and Calypso and everyone in between. But there are places where it's just a bar and people are going and partying. So they're actually adding staff to liquor control so that they can go out and quash this. And then this hopefully new other initiative will be out in about a week or two, and will give each county health department a lot more tools and personnel to help with investigations. So hopefully it's some good news.
I think that's great news, Chief. I become concerned about the politics around the public health and the police department, and whose authority is going to be to enforce a public health issue. I'm glad to have such a resolution-focused police department that's focused on getting solutions for our residents, and they're out there engaging with all the citizens that they need to improve compliance. So
yep.
We've got good plays that others could model from. Okay, I don't have any questions that have come in, but I do have two positive remarks. Kate Hamilton and Matthew Kirk comment on such a great job that we're doing. Thank you, Kate and Matthew, for your kind words. And Carol Cotton recommends that you put your bicycle inside, as thieves may be breaking into locks to get to your bicycle. So that's all, folks. I want to thank you for joining us for another virtual town hall. I want to remind you that we're in this together. So if there's anything that any one of us here could do, please do not hesitate to reach out and ask for whatever you need. Thank you. Have a wonderful night.